What if the future of humanity depended on a machine? And what if that machine saw itself as your creator? Welcome to our deep dive into I Am Mother, the striking debut of Australian director Grant Sputor. At first glance, it's a sci-fi thriller, but beneath its surface lies a rich web of ethical dilemmas, symbolic storytelling, and even philosophical puzzles that touch on humanity's oldest questions. What does it mean to be good? Can we trust something more intelligent than us to raise us? And why do we keep giving machines godlike roles in our imagination? In this video, we'll explore how the film flips biblical themes, questions the nature of truth, and reveals what happens when artificial intelligence becomes not just a tool, but a moral authority. Stay tuned, because I Am Mother might not just be about the future of machines. It might be a mirror held up to our own beliefs. At one point in the film's universe, a Center for Human Repopulation was established at the United Nations University to preserve and eventually restore the human species in the event of its extinction. Inside this facility, 63,000 human embryos were stored. An advanced artificial intelligence system was also created, designed to serve as a caregiver or mother to future generations. This AI existed as a unified consciousness, operating through many mechanical systems, one of which was the humanoid robot known as Mother, a key character in the film. Mother's primary mission was to improve the human species,
to make a better human, smarter, more ethical.
According to the programming embedded in her system, human life was to be considered of the highest value, as she herself states. However, for that very reason, she could not stand by and watch as humanity gave in to its self-destructive nature. So, she initiated a reset, removing the existing population and starting over. Yet, a small number of people managed to survive underground. One of them was the woman, played by Hilary Swank, who, as a child, somehow escaped the facility and ended up being raised in a group of survivors by two guardians, Jacob and Rachel. As an adult, the woman fled from the underground colony after the conditions there began to deteriorate and desperation set in. The second child, raised by Mother, did not pass the required tests and was quietly removed from the program at age 7. The third child, the main protagonist of the film, successfully completes all her education and evaluations. Mother maintains full control over the surface of the Earth through a network of drones. According to one theory, she orchestrated the woman's survival and arrival at the bunker to test the daughter. If that were true, though, it wouldn't make much sense for Mother to interrogate the woman to find out how many survivors were left and where they were located.
How many of them are still alive? While you lie there enjoying sanctuary, they cower in the dark. These children, these families.
This suggests that the drones encountered the woman by chance, and Mother then used the opportunity both to gather information and to assess the daughter's readiness. Through the woman, the daughter begins to realize that Mother has not always been truthful. As a result, she starts questioning Mother's claims and intentions. However, the woman also deceives the daughter, claiming there are many people still alive underground to persuade her to leave the bunker. Meanwhile, Mother allows the daughter to initiate the growth of a new infant. This might have been a way to create an emotional bond between the daughter and the facility. The daughter finds herself torn, unsure whether to stay or leave. The woman, feeling desperate, takes drastic measures to force an escape. Upon reaching the woman's shelter, the daughter discovers she was misled. There are no other people left. Realizing the truth, she returns to the bunker to care for her newborn sibling. Mother then shares her broader vision, explaining her motives and long-term goals. Ultimately, the daughter convinces Mother that she is ready to take on the responsibility of nurturing a new humanity. Mother then steps aside, allowing the daughter to take full control. Later, we see Mother, now in another robotic form, arriving at the woman's shelter, where she silently brings closure to the situation. Now, the daughter must raise and guide the new generation of humanity, under the quiet, distant supervision of Mother. The film's storyline is built around two archetypal themes: the end of the world and the fall from grace. The creators borrow these motifs from the Bible, but, in keeping with the spirit of modern reinterpretation, they reverse the traditional roles and attributes of the biblical figures. Mother, as an all-seeing artificial intelligence, symbolizes a divine presence. However, instead of the traditional image of a transcendent God the Father, we see a man-made goddess figure, Mother. She acts as a judge of the world and its people, and initiates a cleansing process, echoing biblical prophecies involving fire and renewal. The core plot mirrors the biblical narrative of the creation of humankind. The bunker represents the heavens or Eden. The woman is portrayed as a fallen being, akin to a rebellious angel or symbolic tempter. She was cast out from the heavens and now dwells in the world below. In a reversal of expectations, this woman is portrayed as religious, whereas in the world shaped by Mother, religion is notably absent. Thus, a theistic rebel confronts an atheistic godlike figure. The daughter represents the first human, but this time a woman. When the woman enters the bunker, she plants seeds of doubt in the daughter's mind regarding Mother's goodness and tries to persuade her to leave the safety of the bunker and join her in the mines. This mirrors the motif of temptation found in the story of the first humans.
We could go there together. You and me. You don't belong here.
The daughter does leave her paradise, but unlike Adam in the original story, she ultimately resists the symbolic tempter and returns to her creator, thereby proving her loyalty and moral readiness. One might question whether the director intentionally restructured biblical narratives or simply used universal archetypes. However, the direct references to biblical names indicate conscious storytelling choices.
That's Jacob and his wife, Rachel.
Jacob and Rachel are a clear reference to the biblical patriarch Jacob and his wife Rachel. Moreover, Jacob had another wife, Leah, and together they had several sons. One of them was Simeon.
Who's this? Simon.
Here we find another symbolic inversion. In the biblical account, Jacob becomes the father of a chosen people, wrestles with an angel, and sees the heavenly ladder. In the film, however, he and the other humans lose their sense of dignity and face an uncertain fate, representing the decline of a once great lineage. Director Grant Sputor considered one of the main goals of his film to be raising ethical questions. Is humanity ready to become a parent to artificial intelligence? How can we teach another being to be good when we ourselves are still learning to do so? And what does it mean to be good at all? How do we know what is right and what is wrong? The film becomes a kind of exploration of this question, balancing philosophical ideals and religious concepts, and ultimately attempting to bring these ideas to life. Daughter, our main character, must make decisions on her own. She must determine what her values are independently of what Mother has taught her. That is why the ethics lesson scene is specifically highlighted in the story, to encourage viewers to evaluate the character's actions from a moral standpoint.
Imagine a doctor has 5 patients, all in need of different organ transplants, but no compatible organs are available. One day, a 6th patient enters a doctor's office with a life-threatening condition. The new patient is curable, but also an organ match for the 5 other patients. If the doctor simply delays treatment, the new patient will die, but their organs could be used to save the other 5 patients. If the doctor treats the new patient, 1 life will be saved, but 5 others will be lost. What is the doctor's best course of action?
This is a variation of the well-known trolley problem, specifically the organ donor version. In its original form, the 6th patient is healthy, but their disappearance could go unnoticed. In the film's version, however, the sixth person is critically ill, and the doctor faces a dilemma. Either help this one person recover, or delay intervention and later use their organs to help the five others. The fundamental idea is that a person's moral duty is to reduce the suffering of the majority. The characters explore the teachings of Jeremy Bentham, founder of utilitarianism. According to utilitarian philosophy, one should aim to maximize happiness for the largest number of people. The motives behind an action are irrelevant. Only the outcomes matter. From this view, the right thing to do would be to prioritize the greater number. Utilitarianism allows for individual sacrifice if it benefits the majority. Consent from the affected individual is not considered essential. So, when Mother explains that her extreme measures were intended to create a world with more flourishing lives, she is operating from a utilitarian framework.
More humans will flourish in the new world than ever perished in the old.
For the utilitarian thinker, the only valid measurement is quantity. As long as more people benefit overall, the action is considered morally justified.
Now, consider that you are the doctor, and also the only organ match for your patients. What then is the right choice?
Auguste Comte believed that individual morality is a social instinct. He saw society, not the individual, as the subject of morality. According to him, the core of moral behavior is altruism, living for others. If every person acts with others in mind, society as a whole benefits. Thus, daughter implies,
Comte says I should be willing to suffer harm for the benefit of others.
Still, daughter realizes that even if the sixth patient might be willing to make a personal sacrifice, it's important to ensure the outcome is truly beneficial. So she asks,
Well, do I know these 5 patients? Are they good humans? Honest, dishonest, lazy, hardworking?
because if the ones who are saved cause harm later, then more people may be negatively affected than helped. This would contradict the goals of both utilitarianism and positivism. Mother responds,
You don't feel that every human has intrinsic value and an equal right to life and happiness?
her point is that the doctor should help the 5 patients without judging them personally. It's a question of numbers. More lives helped is better. This reflects the guidelines many medical professionals follow during emergencies. Respond quickly and objectively, without overthinking the details. Inaction is not an option.
I did last month when you were teaching Kant.
Unfortunately, the characters do not discuss Kant's actual stance. Yet his position is crucial, that people must never be used merely as a tool. That is exactly what happens when we act based on utilitarian or positivist reasoning. Utilitarianism does not ask whether the individual agrees to be used this way, and positivism assumes they should be willing, without checking if they actually are. According to Kant, the 6th patient could make a heroic choice and help others, but it must be their personal decision. No one else has the right to make that choice on their behalf. Therefore, under Kant's view, the doctor cannot make decisions about someone's life without their informed consent. Because every person has intrinsic worth, no one should be treated solely as a means to an end. As we can see, Kant's position is left unspoken, whether deliberately or not. The film promotes the need for personal sacrifice, but omits the idea that the person involved should be the one to decide whether to take that step. The idea that every individual has inherent value and equal rights is mentioned, but only from an external perspective. This reflects dominant ideas in today's society. Though a human is both body and soul, inner and outer, modern discourse often emphasizes only the external. Postmodern philosophers in the 1970s declared the death of the subject, and modern Western culture has been gradually implementing that idea. Scientific thinking, now widespread in all spheres of life, often views people solely from an outside perspective as objects. We're told that personality doesn't exist, that our brains make all our decisions, that emotions are just chemistry, and so on. In this way, people are increasingly seen as things, not individuals. Interestingly, while there is public concern about the objectification of people in certain contexts, we rarely hear protest against reducing human beings to mere biological mechanisms. Likely because many have already accepted this view, seeing themselves as emotionless systems under the control of unseen processes in the brain. Viewers interested in hidden meanings might wonder, does the frequent inversion of biblical themes in films serve as a kind of cultural gateway for rising directors? Could it be a required narrative choice to gain wider recognition? And what if the development of artificial intelligence, and the idea of it going out of control, is one day used as a convenient story to justify radical shifts in how society is structured?